single you out, and I'm just going to come right down there and take your wallet. Who did not? I wonder why nobody raised their hand. Make sure your cell phones are off. This is the moment you've been waiting for. I'm back on stage. Our speaker is an entrepreneur and best-selling author of the audio series, The Power of Resiliency. He is the founder of Rise Up and Win International, an organization that provides individuals and businesses with education, training, and marketing systems that help them achieve more success, more money, and more happiness. And although you may not have heard of him before, our speaker has shared the stage with many thought leaders and celebrities from around the country, and has even appeared in several movies and on television. Johnny most recently has spoken at TEDx event. The idea he shared was how enemies can improve your life. He has served as the president of the National Speakers Association for the state of Illinois and has earned the designation of accredited speaker, a designation awarded by Toastmasters International and held by only 69 professionals in the world for excellence in public speaking. And although entertaining, his programs are filled with practical and pragmatic methods that have helped thousands of people achieve more success, more money, and more happiness in their lives. Here are a few organizations that Johnny has served: McDonald's, HSBC, Northern Trust Bank, GE, and the Department of Defense. His presentation is called Find Your Enemy and Be a Better Leader. Please welcome the transition man, Toastmaster Johnny Campbell.
Well, as you can see, there's no curtain, so you saw me warming up over there. Well, fellow Toastmasters and all the guests that have come here today, this talk here is all about finding that enemy and becoming a better leader. And the reason that I use that word enemy, not in a negative context, but in the way of inspiring you to go after those things that are holding you back, those things that are keeping you from achieving the things you want in your life. The enemy could be a person, but a lot of times it's a situation and a thing, something you have to overcome. And when you look at it as the enemy of your success, you have a deeper level of commitment toward dealing with it and facing it. So that's what I'm talking about when I use that word enemy. Now, before I get started with the presentation, I want to tell a little bit about myself here. Now, I've been a professional speaker for 18 years. But before that, I spent a little over 10 years in a very sexy industry, everyone. It's called insurance, everybody. I know what you're saying. Wow, 10 years of insurance. Well, during that 10 years, I was a part of 5 downsizes and mergers during that time period. 5 different mergers and acquisitions. 3 times I had to let people go. The other 2, I had to keep myself from getting let go. Has anyone in the room here ever seen the movie Up in the Air with George Clooney? You ever seen that movie before? Mm-hmm. Well, I was George Clooney before George Clooney. Because I was the person that talked to people about their situation before letting them go. And the lesson that I learned from that is one I always share with every group I speak to. Never let your current profession, your career, define who you are. Because if they take it away from you, you'll be lost. That's why the first thing to think about is whatever you do as a career or profession, you define yourself. It's your self-awareness of who you are and the values that you offer people that matter most importantly. Because what happens in the world that we have today is there's enemies of your success. Things happen in the marketplace. Things change inside Toastmasters, and we have to have a better way of thinking about those situations. Because things, when they do change, we can tend to feel lost, confused, and uncertain. So we have to develop the right mindset toward that. So after they phased out my job, and it was gone, I decided to take my act on the road. So I started doing these presentations around the country. And one day, there was a lady in the room who was a Hollywood agent. And she came up to me and she said, "Johnny, I just heard you speak, and you are awesome, and I think I can put you in the movies." And I thought, in the movies? How about that? From out of job, no job, to in the movies. Then she said something very important, everybody. She said, "Can you act?" And I said, "Well, I acted like I like going to work for the last 10 years. How hard could it be?" So she sent me out on these casting calls. And when she sent me out on the casting calls, I was in the actual movie that you may have seen before. So it's been out for a long time now. It's called The Breakup with Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston. Anyone remember that movie? Yes. Well, there's a Wrigley baseball scene, since it's filmed in Chicago, where Vince Vaughn passes a hot dog down the aisle to her in a very loving way. And as that hot dog goes down that aisle, if you look real close, you can see my waist right in the middle. I know you're like, wow, that's a star right there. Went back to the agent again and said, that was fine, but I need something more than that. She said, don't worry. You know when people say don't worry, you know what you should do, everybody, right? Start to worry. She said, there's a TV series coming out, you're going to be perfect for it. I said, what's the TV series? She said, it's called Prison Break. Anyone heard of Prison Break before? You got the height, you got the build, we can make you a correctional officer. And so in Prison Break, at the pilot series, blurred out, there I am walking the main star across the screen at the beginning of the show. And I said, I still didn't get to say anything. She said, don't worry. What should you do, everybody, when they say that? Worry. She said, there's another movie coming out. You're going to be perfect for it. And I promise you will get an opportunity. And I said, what's the name of the movie? She said, it's called Let's Go to Prison. You guys notice I'm getting typecast now? I was out before I was ever in. And I told myself, if there was ever an award for best supporting extra in a non-speaking role, it would be me. And in keeping with the Oscars, I decided to give myself an Oscar. Johnny Campbell, best supporting extra in a non-speaking role, everybody. Give him the Oscar. Clooney and Denzel are all watching me right now. So the question is this, what in the world does that have to do with leadership and goal setting and even collaboration or connection? What does that have to do with anything? Everything. The moment you tell yourself, I'm going to go out and do something different with my life, I'm going to take what I know, take that act on the road and try to achieve more in my life, and you tell people, that's what will happen to you. 1/3 of the room knew what I was talking about, and they were laughing with me. There's another third of the room who had no clue what I was talking about, and they were staring at me. And then there was another third of the room who wasn't laughing with me, but they were laughing at me. That's what happens when you pursue excellence. That's what happens when you say, I'm going to do something different with my life. I'm going to join Toastmasters and improve my communication skills. I'm going to do all of these things, and you tell people. And suddenly, people have their own opinion about you and what you should be doing and how you should be accomplishing things. That's where self-awareness comes into place, to understand who you are and what you're about. Another lesson that I always tell everybody, when I joined Toastmasters, I didn't join Toastmasters 16 years ago because I had a fear of speaking. I joined because I wanted to become a better professional speaker. I wanted to grow and I wanted to improve. And I wanted to understand why I was funny, why I was engaging. I wanted to understand the structure behind things. That's why I joined Toastmasters. See, each and every one in the room here has come in for a different reason. But that reason is what keeps you going. That reason is what keeps you holding on. So it's so important for you to have your specific goal, the specific thing you want to accomplish. You know, another lesson that I learned, I joined Toastmasters, I already had a speech that I was working on. What I did was I took the manual speeches, the first 10 speeches in the manual, and I gave my one speech 10 times in a row. In other words, I took my 45-minute keynote and I broke it down to meet the expectations of each of the individual projects. I didn't have 10 speeches, I'm just here to tell you. But I had one really good speech that could become great. And the reason I share that is because many people in the room here always think they gotta have 10. You want quality speeches. You want speeches that you can grow from, you can build off of. That's the kind of speaking that you want to do. Table topics, I know it's scary, everybody, but it teaches you how to think on your feet and prepare yourself for the moment. That's another training opportunity for you there. But when we talk about these things, we always talk from the context of what's your goal? What is your goal? And in life, everyone has goals. Now, show hands, how many people have some goals in your life right now? Goals. Okay, how's that working out right now? I know. Let me ask you a question here, a simple little question here. What have you set a date, a goal, when all of this stuff's supposed to happen in your life?